people, I mean, my loved ones made me, they didn't realize it, how guilty, why I had reasons to feel guilty, why that I stayed alive. Before we left home, I still had, my older sister and my older brother, and then I was there. My father digged away, hidden some jewelry under a tree in the ground. He digged it in and he covered it up, I guess, whatever he could. Then he took my older sister and my older brother at night to show where it is. They figured if anybody comes home, they'll come home, not me. I was a kid. But I mean, they didn't keep it a secret, but they couldn't take so many people in the dark there to go to show them where it is. So over there, I have my first guilty feeling, right? Then this friend came to the train and looks at me and says to me, "Where is Chaya? We heard Chaya is alive." He didn't hear that Chaya is alive, that my sister. He heard one of the Klein girls are alive. Took it for granted, my sister is coming home. Okay, we stayed there for a while. It's a long story there, it wasn't easy. Also in the soup kitchens and waited to get home. So finally the time came, I was going home where I was born, from Budapest. It was Erev Tisha B'Av. And we went that evening, Erev Tisha B'Av, on the trains. It was regular trains, yes. And I had no food. We had some black coffee on the train. I had a can of sardines or whatever, but I wouldn't eat it because I was afraid it's not kosher. That's how I was still. So I wouldn't eat that. I wouldn't open that can because I wasn't sure it's kosher. So I had only coffee, and we're going a whole night. We're traveling. I got to the biggest city where, from where where I live, and with a train. And from there, a wagon, horses. We didn't have car. Horses took me home from where I was born, where my brother waited for me.
And did you know it was your brother by now? Or
But
did you think it was your cousin?
by then, yes, in Budapest, I found out from this friend. And the first thing, he takes a look at me, and he again says the same thing. Where is Chaya? We hear that Chaya is alive. Well, he didn't hear that, but he just took it for granted. And for a minute, you don't realize what you're saying. So anyway, there was Tisha B'Av, and I didn't eat all day. I was very religious. I wanted to go back to keep whatever I supposed to. So when I got to that day, my brother was one of the first one who came back. Our house was completely demolished, the roof and all that. But he found my grandmother's house. There was somebody living in one room, and this woman said you could have the other room. And so whoever came home went to this one room in the kitchen. That's what we had. So I went there, and they heard there was more girls and boys, whoever came, stay there. And they heard I'm fasting. And they were all older, I was the kid. And here, when they heard I'm fasting, they told I'm absolutely crazy. And it was only about an hour or two before that you could eat. They started to say, how could you fast? Didn't you fast enough? No, I want to fast, I'm not going to eat. Then they brought me a mirror to show me how I look. I was all skin and bone, skin and bone. I think I weighed 30 kilos, that's like around 70 pounds, not even that, I know. I don't know exactly, but I was skin and bone. I still wouldn't eat. I was very stubborn, you know, it wasn't me, you know. And then they started to say, didn't you see how your parents' house looked? Because I went through when I came home. And what happened to your parents and your brothers and your sister, and you still want to fast and this and that. Anyway, they brainwashed me, and I ate how much I could eat. My stomach was all shrunken. Anyway, and then my life was worse than a concentration camp because I really didn't want to live. That guilt feeling, I couldn't understand why I stayed alive. Why not my older sister and older brother, and here I am alive. Everything was bothering me. I was completely in a terrible depression. My brother used to play violin before the war. And then he played the violin, and I ran away in the woods. I couldn't take it. Everything came back. But life went on. I mean, I wish dead every night, but you don't die from wishing dead on yourself. Then we were there, and
how were you making a living? Was your brother working?
Black marketing.
Still.
Yeah, black marketing. So we had a little. What do we eat? I mean, just bread and soup and like that. And he was traveling back and forth to the big city. They were exchanging cigarettes, or I don't even know what, but that. And one time he was away, and a few of the girls were, two girls and one, my cousin, the same age as I, and we were there, and on a Friday morning, they baked a lot of bread and all that, and a wagon of Russians, peasants or something, they came and they started to look for cigarettes, for this and that. So the two older girls ran away. They knew that as young kids, we were nothing to look at us. I mean, they were afraid that they'd be raped or something. They ran away for men, that men should come and protect us. So we stayed there. They didn't bother us, but they came and they lay down on the bed and they started to eat the bread, and they were dangerous. They were dangerous, really. But then after a while, a few of the men came, the girls went to pick them up, and they left after a while. They went around looking for, they wanted whiskey or cigarette, whatever they could find. And nobody could really stop them, They had to look over and see they took whatever they wanted, and then they left. And then my brother left that we're going to go, and I was left still with the others, and as I said, he was doing black marketing. And then, we all decided we have to leave there. And we were leaving, we left, and I wanted to take out one of the closets from there. My grandmother's thing. And the man who made a living from us became a big shot. And he ran, and he wouldn't take out anything. He says, if you want to use something, you have to stay here and use it, but you can't take it out from that little town.
And it was yours?
It was ours. And we left for these people a lot of stuff, personal stuff, and we asked for it. They didn't give back nothing. They said they don't have it. And
what about the jewelry under the tree?
Somebody
found
digged
it?
No. We never found it. We went and we digged all over, and it was somebody must have find a fresh way or anything, but we never find it. We never find it when I came home. I mean, they saw that it was digged over things, but we never find it. So from there we went on borders. It was borders to deep Czechoslovakia.
Who were we? Who were you with? Your cousin?
No, yeah, cousin too was with us. That was a boy cousin. And we needed special paper. And on that borders was very tough to go through. But I was a little girl, so one of the Russian soldiers gave me a broom. I should start sweeping the floor there. Did you ever hear anything? And I had some papers, a boy's paper, somebody gave me, made up, you know, I mean, there was people who worked with us. And anyway, make a long story short, I went through that border. And I knew where to go to look for my brother.
What border was it?
That was from Carpathians to Czechoslovakia, to deep Czechoslovakia, because from where I came was communists after the war. And we went to Czechoslovakia, really, you know, to student land, Czechoslovakia. And I went to this address where I was supposed to meet my brother. They would know where he is and all that. I came there, and my brother was in the hospital. He was sick. He had, I don't know what, but he had some sickness. He was sick. Not for long, he came out. They took me, he had an apartment for us already, and these people took me to this apartment, and I stayed, and I waited, you know, after my brother came out.
You were in Czechoslovakia?
Yes.
What city?
That was Chomutov. No, Žatec, I'm sorry, Žatec. And then my brother, because I did whatever he was my leader and he was everything, I was under his hand. Then he decided, my brother, I don't know why he decided to go to another city, it's a big city, Chomutov. And we stayed there for a while, and I went to learn a trade there. But we were supposed to stay there for a while. I went to learn how to sew.
You were 16 or 17?
No, I was 16 then. 16. No, 50. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I started to sew, and in Europe, you start to sweep the floors, and you do a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's what I was doing. And in return, she gave me lunch for that. No money. You don't get money. But my brother there was a few of the boys, friends, it was a bedroom and a kitchen. I stayed in the kitchen, and the boys all stayed in the bedroom. It was a terrible experience there because I didn't have nobody. I couldn't talk to nobody. I was all broken out. My feet had all blisters, and I was all blown up because I didn't get my
period.
Yeah. Then I mentioned it for this woman, and she took me to a doctor, and he helped me. He gave me something, and he helped me with that, because I was ashamed to say to my brother. Yeah. I mean, in Europe, you didn't talk to a brothers anything about that. Anyway, we stayed there for a while, and then I didn't like the woman. I mean, like she had a dog, and one time I heard her calling the dog like dirty Jew or something about a Jew. And when I heard that, I couldn't go back to her. I just couldn't go back when I heard that word, and I didn't go back. But then we decided there's no future for us. And then from Israel, the Haganah was working then already, And we decided we're going to go back to Germany to the DP camps. And from there, we could go to different places.
Did you want to go to Israel?
Only to Israel. Oh, by the way, one time, while I was still in Chomutov, we heard a transport is going to France or England. I don't remember which place. But you had to be a certain age, and I was qualified for it. So my brother took me to Prague. That's the biggest city in Czechoslovakia. And we came to the airport. We missed the plane. The plane was just going up. And before, prior to that, I forgot to tell you, when I arrived in Czechoslovakia, I needed not a passport,
Visa?
To stay there, to be able to stay there. My brother had it. When my brother got there, it wasn't hard to get it. And my brother was sick, so I went myself. I was a young kid, and I went to Prague to this special office and to ask for papers. I come there, I go in one office, and I explain that I came for this paper to stay here. I want to stay here. And they say, you can't stay. You can't stay. You have to go back. I says, I have nobody to go to. And I started to cry, of course. And I says, I'm not going away from here until I get this paper. I have no place to go.
And where was that?
In Prague.
That was in Prague, and that was not communist?
No, there was no communist. That was Czechoslovakia.
And they wanted you to go back to the communist
side.
Right.
Right. And I said, I have this one brother, and he's here, and he has all the papers, and I want to stay with him. Well, let him go with you. Let him go back with you, but we can't accept more people, and that's it. It's closed. Well, I started to cry, terrible, and I lost everybody, and whatever I said, I don't even know. And I said, I'm not going any place. I have nowhere to go. I'll stay here. Anyway, they gave me the paper, and I went home, and I got the paper. And I stayed there, and then there was no future. My aunt and uncle wrote to me, and they begged me to come there, and they sent papers.
Where were they?
Here in this country.
Uh-huh.
And my aunt and uncle felt that this is the place we should come. And I wrote back, I don't want to come to the United States. I want to go to Israel, where my sister and brothers are. I just wanted to go there because we were already brainwashed. Anyway, we went through then another border from Czechoslovakia to Germany, to the DP camp. That was even a worse border. We had to go like 1 o'clock at night. We went to Ash, that's near the border, and 1 o'clock in the morning we started to walk, and we walked all night on the mountains, and we got in the morning a certain place. Some people took us, and there was trucks, the Haganah, the trucks were waiting for us there, and took us to Munich to the Funkersaal. There was a big barracks, all the people came there.
That must have felt good, did it?
Over there,
to be among...
Yeah, well, yes, not yet. It wasn't, I didn't feel yet there comfortable. I was still in the loose. Over there, they came, the young people came to recruit to the different DP camps. There was all over DP camps. So this young boy who was from our neighborhood, I didn't know him, but he came and he brainwashed me, and I went to this kibbutz Dror. And my brother came also, but he didn't go in the kibbutz. He went more privately. But and I felt very comfortable in the kibbutz that was in Germany, in Wasserburg, and because I felt like I belonged someplace. I was trained to go to Israel. We really lived like we had to stand with a gun. I don't think they weren't loaded, but make believe by the door early in the morning, and we ate together and we worked together, and I find a family. But my brother wasn't comfortable there. He went to another camp, to Heidenheim, where his friends were. And I didn't want to go there. I felt very comfortable there. So he left there, and I was in this kibbutz. And then you couldn't go to Israel. You stayed and stayed there, and we couldn't go to Israel. The border, it was closed. You know, the British didn't let us go. So my brother came one day, and he says, we're going to go to United States. We can't go to America, and you have to come to the other camp, and we'll start making papers, and we'll go to the United States.
August 3rd, 1995, interviewing Barbra Frohlinger, survivor of the Shoah. Mrs. Frohlinger, you're in Europe, you're in Germany, mm-hmm. and you've decided to go to the United States. Tell us about
Correct. That. We couldn't go to Israel, so we went to we went to the United States. We took a boat.
Was it difficult making arrangements, or?
We had the papers because they really wanted us to come there. It's just that we didn't want to come. We had the papers.
Who did you have?
My aunt and uncle sent us the paper, the visas. And we came, we took the boat, and we...
and who were you with?
With my uncle, with my brother.
Right.
My brother. We had a cousin with us, my cousin on my side, and my uncle, which is my father's side, my mother's side. My uncle was my mother's side. No, my father's side, I'm sorry. And the cousin was on my mother's side. He sent papers for him too. He was very nice. He sent papers for him, but he couldn't come with us. He came a little later. And when we arrived, I was still I was scared. When we got to the on the boat, everybody was sick because it was a long time. I was more on the healthier side than most of the people. But when we arrived to we saw the Statue of Liberty, and most of the people were happy to see it. Unfortunately, I wasn't happy. I wouldn't mind if it's terrible to say now when I think back. I wouldn't care if the boat would sink. It's unbelievable that how I was thinking then. Then I realized that how bitter I was because I wouldn't hurt a fly, and how I felt then. I was scared. I was so scared. And my aunt and uncle waited for me, and I had another aunt. She was alone, a widow, my father's sister, and they were waiting in Staten Island, where we arrived. And they took us home. My brother stayed down. They had a house up and down, and my brother stayed downstairs with my widow aunt, and I was with upstairs with my uncle and aunt, and they had a teenager daughter, a year older than me, and a son who got married and had to live there because that time you couldn't get apartments. So they used the second bedroom, And my cousin and me, we stayed in the dining room. We shared a bed. You open a day bed, you know, and we slept together. And she was just wonderful. I mean, she took me in like a friend. I mean, when, you know, that time still she was a teenager, and here I was a greenhorn. I didn't speak the language or anything, but she was wonderful.
Like a sister.
Like a sister. If she would slap me now, it wouldn't hurt me, because what she did for me that time, she took me to her friends, and she wasn't ashamed of me if I didn't speak the language. She took me to dances. She even broke off with one of her friends, because her friend took away a boy who was talking with me, and she was so hurt that she didn't want to have anything to do with that friend, that kind of cousin. And my uncle and aunt, the uncle was the real uncle. He started with us, like, you know, like we shared the bed even, but he made sure that we have even tissue separate. We shouldn't, you know, nothing should happen, you know, we shouldn't complain that one takes away from the other. And we had a beautiful relationship. And my aunt, like a mother. And of course I was like, I needed that, and I appreciated it very much. So the first 2 weeks I was very, very still bitter. And I looked for a job. I just wanted to go to work, because everybody went to work except my aunt. She took me a few times to places to look for a job, and then I didn't want it. I wanted to be independent, to go to myself. As you know, New York had three Lexington Avenue lines, and I went to look for some place. I had an address to go to look for a job, and I came back, and I took the first Lexington Avenue train, and I came to the last stop, because that's where I had to go, to the last stop. And I chauffeur the conductor. He says, you're in the wrong place, you have to go back. I went back, and I took again the wrong. And here they were going crazy, waiting for me, and I didn't come home. Anyway, that was a good experience, but because I learned my traveling.
The trains.
Then finally...
What was the last stop you were looking for?
241. And, you know, almost Mantuinen. I lived almost in Mantuinen. We went shopping in Mantuinen and all that. And then I got a job through a friend, took me up, and I stayed on that job until I left.
And what was that, doing what?
Sewing. On the machine operating.
In Manhattan?
In Manhattan, Canal Street. I started, I didn't know anything. One of the cousins taught me how to sew on a sewing machine. And I went to this factory, and I started to work on labels. They gave me a package of labels to sew on. And of course, I did it the wrong way. That was my first experience, but they had patience with me.
How did you communicate? What language?
Yiddish and a little English.